Time's up Bercow. With just one day to go till he said he would leave, Commons Speaker is urged by friends to name the new date for his departure. Friends of John Bercow have visited him to urge him to name a date for his departure. A string of MPs are understood to have spoken to the Commons Speaker privately to tell him his time is up. They do not expect him to go by the end of the week, as he originally promised, but they want him to make a statement outlining a timetable for his departure. Last night candidates to succeed Mr. Bercow were said to be openly campaigning in the expectation that he will go. When he was elected, he promised he would step down after 9 years, a deadline that he reaches tomorrow. Mr. Bercow has steadfastly refused to step down, and earlier this week his wife Sally tweeted she was not packing her bags. The pair share a grace and favor apartment in the Houses of Parliament. One MP said, "I had all but given up hope on Bercow going, but things are afoot. I know some people have visited Speaker Bercow privately and told him time is up. There has been heavy campaigning from candidates to succeed him today. Some people clearly think there is a chance he will go soon. And narrative is growing that if we give him space, he will go within a year." There were rumors last night that MPs were collecting names for a letter calling on Mr. Bercow to go. And there were plans to put down an early day motion in the Commons to urge the Speaker to honor his 2009 pledge. Idioms are a way to measure the strength of Commons' feelings on major issues. Possible Labour successors include Harriet Harman, the former acting Labour leader, Chris Bryant, former Shadow Commons leader, and the current Deputy Speaker Sir Lindsay Hoyle. For the Tories, Charles Walker could also throw his hat into the ring. Some also say the other two deputy speakers, Dame Rosie Winterton and Dame Eleanor Lying, could also stand. A series of MPs are understood to have spoken to Mr. Bercow to urge him to make a statement before the end of the week about his future. They have asked him to consider a compromise position, whereby he would not necessarily step down tomorrow but would announce a date for him to go. The MPs said while they would be happy for him to stay until Christmas, or maybe, at a push, Easter, he must be gone by next year's summer recess. On Monday night, Mrs. Bercow responded to a campaigner who wants her husband to honor his pledge and go before tomorrow. She tweeted, "On Friday, I look forward to a school visit, lunch with a friend, son's football tournament and my mum coming to stay for the weekend. I haven't started packing yet. Sorry to disappoint." Mrs. Bercow also mocked previous attempts to unseat her husband, suggesting MPs always bottle the challenge in the end. She wrote, "Just keep an eye out for fake news, as last time Telegraph reported 150 MPs were out to remove John, but it turned out to be 5. Last week pressure on the Speaker mounted after a minister branded his behavior towards her as sexist and demeaning. Energy Minister Claire Perry wrote to the Speaker about a clash in the Commons, insisting verbal violence against women was unacceptable. Mrs. Perry said she took the action because the Speaker should not give the impression he has a women problem. A Tory MP who blocked an investigation into claims John Bercow bullied staff did so after receiving a knighthood 6 months ago thanks to the Commons Speaker, it can be revealed today. An official probe into the allegations against Mr. Bercow was prevented from taking place last month after Sir Christopher Chope cast the deciding vote to stop it at a meeting of the Commons Committee on Standards. Now the Daily Mail can reveal the former Tory minister made his decision after he was knighted in the 2018 New Year's Honours list, having been nominated by Mr. Bercow. It is not known whether Sir Christopher knows who put him forward for a knighthood. The revelation comes days after the MP for Christchurch made headlines after single-handedly blocking government-backed plans to make upskirting a criminal offence. It will also reignite the row over Mr. Bercow's conduct just one day before the date he promised to step down. When Mr. Bercow was elected Speaker in 2009, he pledged in his manifesto to stay in the role for no longer than 9 years. That deadline comes up tomorrow on June 22. But before last year's general election, Mr. Bercow announced that he had changed his mind and planned to serve for a further 5 years. Mr. Bercow has faced calls from some MPs to stick to his original promise amid a series of allegations about his behavior towards Commons staff. But last month he escaped a potentially embarrassing official inquiry into the claims after MPs on the Common Standards Committee voted 3-2 against allowing Parliament's watchdog to investigate the claims. Mr. Bercow has emphatically denied allegations that he bullied two former private secretaries.